So I want to welcome you here again on August 8th. Welcome to the land of Oz. Why not make it mystical and magical? And today, as I mentioned, what I want to share with you is an idea that our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts have vibration. Now, you guys have experienced this. All of us have experienced this when you've walked into a memorial and the feeling is glum, or you walk into a really upbeat party and all of the energy is up. There's truly a vibration of emotion and of feelings. And so we can begin to and learn to use those and control those. And today what I'm going to share with you is what's called, so let somebody in here. Today I'm going to share with you from a man called David Hawkins, and he has a chart of consciousness, and we'll take a look at this and see what I'm talking about. And from this, you'll be able to kind of start to identify when you're in different levels of consciousness and when and then how to change those vibrational frequencies so that, like, even if this stuff doesn't really work, it makes you feel better. Right? So, but I know it works because I live from it all the time. So here I'm going to share with you this chart by David Hawkins, and this will go into the resources on the library there so that you'll be able to reference this. And he has different variations of how he's drawn out this chart, and other people have vibrational frequencies of emotion or feeling or all kinds of things, but this one I found to be really accurate. And one of the things I want to say is that I like to take the end zero off of these and think about this as like 100%. Right? And being at the high vibration of peace and more at 100%. And so, like, if we look at this piece here, it's 60%. And that way we can go, am I living right now in 60% of my vibrational frequency being positivo, as one of my coaches would say, positivo, right? And today I'm going to go through this with you and kind of share and apply it to our individual lives so that we can use it in our everyday life. So I am going to start down here in the lower frequencies down here. And we're going to, even though this is 20 frequencies out of 1,000, we're going to call it 2 out of 100. Okay. And that's shame. And I don't know if many of you know Brene Brown, but she, came out a couple of years ago really on how to identify shame and how to transform shame, and that it's, especially for women, it's really a big part of our status quo thinking. Now, I'll use those terms a lot, status quo thinking. That means like the general average thinking that people think. Now, there's a status quo of the US, there's also a status quo of the world, there's different status quos. But in general, shame in the lives of women has really been a detriment to our happiness and our ability to actually be more serving in the world. So you can see that's 2% out of 100. That's very low. And you can see the things that are under 10% here: fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. And it actually does go up this way. And over here, so this red area is you're stuck in the negative emotion. So this is basically defining, the red zone is defining negative emotion. And over here is kind of the result of what happens when you're in these areas. So when you're in shame, guilt, apathy, grief, and fear, you actually hang out in inertia. That feeling of like I don't even want to get out of bed. So I was just telling Katerina, I've been doing looking into some hormone balancing with the practitioner here in Santa Rosa. And And just to get me started, she put me on a couple of hormones, really low grade hormones. And also then we did an in-depth test to see what exactly I need. My body hated it. And I hit the deepest, darkest. I know I've been in a bad mood, and I've even called it depression, but I've never felt depression like I felt after I went on these hormones. And I could attribute it to different events in my life, but boy, it felt like a heavy blanket on me. And since I work with people often that are depressed, I really now have a sense of what it feels like to be in a dark, deep depression and not even wanting to get out of bed. And as soon as I went off the hormones, it was a couple, just like within 2 days, I was back to my normal self. And we're working towards, because I still need, there's some balancing I need in there. So we're working with who I am as an individual, working towards that. But I didn't want to even, I was in inertia. Every day that I got deeper and deeper to where I didn't even want to get out of bed. And those of you who know me already know how pretty much upbeat and kind of joyful and sparkly I am. And I wasn't that. And I called the doctor and I said, and this isn't like me. I'm usually so happy. She goes, yeah, that's what I thought, because we've just met, So that's what happens. Fear, grief, apathy, guilt. Now, this is an interesting shift over here into the next ones. Now, desire is, I actually would replace this word in here for envy, because there is a desire that is a divine desire. There is a longing within us, which is that something within us that wants to express more of life, a greater, fuller, freer sense of life. And so I actually would replace this word with envy, but envy, anger, pride. Now think about when you're in grief and apathy, you don't even have like the energy to be angry, right? It comes with hyperactivity. Look at this activity over here. But now go across this red line right here. What does it take to move us into happy and productive? It takes courage. It takes courage to move us into level one zone, into the level 1 zone, right? And courage to start finding something positive, finding some way to, and this is a lot of the tools that I give people throughout this course, is like, how do you shift your emotions, your mood, your thinking? And it always starts with our thoughts first, right? Is courage, and then trust, optimism, forgiveness. And when you are in these, you are happy and productive. This is a good place to be. But when we move into understanding, then you are able to have peak performance without stress. But this is the one that I'm encouraging us all to work towards and move towards, which is joy, gratitude, and love. And when we are in this vibrational frequency, we attract things to us that give us joy. Like, somebody that's really needy, and like they really want to be your friend, and they want to be, and it's kind of like a don't grab me, like that kind of feeling, right? But when you're in joy, gratitude, and love, just automatically people are gravitating towards you. Experience of synchronicity and extraordinary outcomes gravitate towards you. And then 600 and up is peace. And the thing about it is that we can live in these different levels in different arenas of our lives. Like, some people just can never get the relationship thing together, right? And I'm not just talking about a fall apart or breakdown. There are just some people that just kind of always seem to miss the mark in relationships. That's where they probably are living in this zone or out of the zone, when in the arena of relationship, but then in career, they may be zooming and being up here and in this zone up here. So the other thing that I want to say is that the good news is now, I don't remember if I talked about the low pressure front, but I'm going to say it again just so that you get the concept of the low pressure front, because it really applies to how we can live in this arena here. And I have a few more things to say about that. So what the low pressure front is about in meteorology, the science of weather, right? The wind does not blow. We always say, oh, the wind's really blowing out there. The wind isn't blowing. It's actually pulling into a low pressure front. There's some kind of energy out there that is just being the attractive energy that makes the atmosphere move and pull into the low pressure front. Okay, and so that is the idea of being in the state of love, joy, and gratitude. And when we are in that zone, and that's why synchronicity and extraordinary outcomes happen, then everything we need must come to that low pressure front. But then why doesn't it? Because we have belief systems that are like barriers from that wind getting to the low pressure front. And that's our own thinking standing in the way, our belief systems, condition-based thinking. Okay, do you know what condition-based thinking is? It's when you are run by conditions, not by universal principle or universal truth. Okay, and that's one of the things that we study in this program is what are the universal truths? Now, the physical truths are like gravity, and there's nothing you can do about gravity, right? You can utilize it and then get the law of aviation, and you can learn to fly, but that's because you understand the law of gravity, but you can never get rid of the law of gravity, right? When we're in an environment of gravity. It's the same with the universal laws. I'm actually speaking on Sunday at a Unity Church on Zoom, and I'll try to get that link and send it to you if you want to hear. I'm going to be talking about how to sparkle your life through universal principle on Sunday. And but the good news about this is, guess what else is the vibration of joy, gratitude, and love? Money. Money, and not money itself like the tangible, but what money provides us. Money provides us the freedom to be creative in our lives, right? We don't really want the money. You know, you could have the money sitting here wanting to go to Costa Rica, and you're not going to Costa Rica unless you implement the power of, or the vibrational frequency. And money is in this. So if we can move into gratitude, gratitude is one of the things that can really help us loosen the grip of limited thinking of money and open us up to the ability to use it as a vehicle to express and share in our lives. And so that is, and so if you get a chance to get this from the library, or if you're able to know how to do a screenshot, you could do a screenshot of this right now, whatever you'd like to do, and use this. Think about when you're in, like, you know, we can be in anger, you know, over so many things. I mean, there's so many things going on in the world right now we could be angry about, right? But what can we do to move ourselves in frequency? And we do that through creating our thoughts. For example, if you look at, we'll just take the big war, you know, if we look at war, how can we not be in the vibrational frequency down here of war? Well, we can love what we can love, and we can be joyful where we can be joyful. And that at least moves in the positive direction instead of going down that slippery slope of fear and all the other things that come with that. Okay.